let us head to... Where is that? This one? Yeah. We're delivering those subs. Here, right? Yeah. Okay, we're delivering some subs. Let's do this. The local workers carefully unload the submarines off your ship one at a time, bringing them to the icy waters nearby where they will dive to perform deep-sea exploration in the local fauna. Once they're done, Apria invites you to enter the research facility just a few kilometers away from the spaceport tower with hangars of its own for your ship. There you're met by a committee of sorts. A handful of local scientists greet the two of you and thank you for helping transporting the subs. Having trouble reaching deeper sections of the ocean, our older probes were, so able to analyze a multitude of new species with these new subs we hope to be. One of them tells you. When they're done, they hand you 510,000 credits and Apria follows you to your ship. Thankful for putting up with all the last-minute detours I am, Captain. Safe travels, may you have. He does a short gesture as a form of goodbye. You put your forearm on the ground, and he places one of his legs over it. Great. Once you're done, he heads back to the research center. Look at that. I'm learning customs. Now, I still think that there is something to be said. Now, let's go see what this permit thing is, and then maybe we'll take a little detour and go see what's going on over here. Unless this is like a time mission, then that sucks. But we'll see. Said Lataris gives you payment of 100,000 credits before you open your hatch for her to leave. Take a few hours this might, so wait for me in the spaceport you can. Know the layout well, I do. So find you without issue, I will. As you open your hatch to see her leave, you're faced with a Chemic Heliarch waiting for the two of you, starting said Lataris as she sees him. Made it clear, have I not, that cease your stubborn attempts you should, Tribune. He asked, too precious the consul's time is. Keep wasting it and telling you off they cannot. Said Latarius brings a hand to her hair. As she looks down, she opens her mouth, but cuts whatever she had to say at her throat. Instead, she goes down the ramp and leaves quickly for some section of the ring world. Ignoring the Chemic's protests, he sighs and approaches you. Roped you into her explanation plans, has she, Captain? An outsider with a jump drive you are. So, of course, drawn to you, she would be, that girl. Are you two colleagues? Kachari I am, for many decades, the arbiter supervising the person's work. I have been. A bright girl, produced many excellent theoretical models of the outside. She has, but in recent years obsessed with leaving on official expedition she became. Denied her nearly 12 times, the consuls have, but get the hint she won't. He rapidly taps the ground with his legs, as if the ground was hot to the touch. Helped her set up the specific petition I have. Asked the council to be extra strict and definitive this time I did. Contracted you for a longer trip, I assume she has, but will be allowed to leave, she will not. He wishes you a good day and leaves to an office opposite the spaceport. And now we'll go to the spaceport. When you don't see that person in the spaceport, you look for a spot to sit and wait for her, and notice a set of seats made for the Quarg, still around to this day. You take one that you assume was meant for a Quarg child standing lower than the others and wait. Captains and workers that pass by give you all sorts of looks, and after a few minutes even some Heliarch agents are gawking at you, discussing among themselves. Just as you decide you should get up and sit somewhere else, you look to see that person coming into the spaceport. A short wait, wasn't it? She comments once you're close. Care to hear my case? The consuls didn't. Just told me that to leave whenever I wish, I may. If I can, they said, as provide me a jump drive, they won't. But that's where you come in. Didn't care to hear your case? What do you mean? According to protocol, present valid reasoning for their expedition, and a thorough travel plan aspiring inspectors must. This time, taking every legal detail into account I had in preparation for the meeting, but once I entered, barely time to greet them they gave me. Said that I thought it over they have, and willing to oblige they were, so just signed a few documents I did, and now officially inspector I am. I take it inspectors what you call explorers? No mere explorers we are. A rank graded with the utmost respect to the coalition's bravest, those unafraid to venture out into the void to chart the unknown it is. date back thousands of years, the title does. First used by early Sarids, when set out to explore beyond the home system they had, and then adopted by the Heliarchs it was. Remain in use to this day, the term does, she says in excitement, pausing with a smile as if considering that she herself is one such inspector now. Let's see, so will it be you or the consuls? And I was like, well, whatever, I don't care about payment. You seem eager to start. Where are we heading? Ready to go outside? We are not. Not for the purpose of finding out about the last expedition, at least. A tool from House Idris we need. Oh, look at that. If to trace my ancestor's steps, we are. To Alblub's invention in the Alblub system. She's about to continue your conscience by... So this is going to tie into the thing we just did. As she's about to continue, your conversation is cut short by Kimmik rushing towards you two, shouting frantically. Once he's closer, you recognize him in that Arbiter Kachari from earlier, and Sedlaris tries to calm him down while he's catching his breath. Professor, if about my request this is, already met with the council I have, approved it. Know that, I do. Exactly what I'm furious about, that is. Asked them to give you a definite answer, I had, but not this kind of definitive. Listen, permission or not, safe to leave it is not. Know that you do. He looks at her for a few moments, then to you. Captain, as a superior, greatly appreciate your intent to help, said the person. I do, but too brash about this she has been. Take her out of our space, you must not. He looks at her again, as if expecting some response. When no response comes, he turns slowly away, saying, waste not your life on this, and walks away. The person sighs once again, turns to a corridor, and says she's ready for the trip. Hold on. What does he mean? I do know what he meant. I also do not, she says, looking back at the corner. Kachari turned. Approving of my wish for this trip, he never was. Some time to calm down he needs. For now, back to your ship we should go. I'm in. You find 5 Heliarchs waiting by your ship, who said that person introduces as the representative of the council, and who must be present when the House Idris provides the piece of equipment she wants. You show her and the others to their bunks and prepare for the trip. Well, apparently we're going to get that thing. Sell jump drive. Oh, I forgot that they want jump drives. I forgot about that. I am not selling you any more jump drives yet. We'll take a chill pill on Solar Rack and check that, what's going on there. And then, hopefully get that piece of scanning equipment that I want so bad. But was that... I thought they said it was going to offer it in like a month or so or whatever. See, this is interesting because now it says that there's enough fuel to actually... Now it says there's not enough fuel. I'm very confused. Space warp, nothing going on. Well, maybe we'll actually get this thing that I've been searching for. Oh, it's a book. The Heliarch Council representatives guide you far from the planet's equator to a region close to a snowy mountain and tell you to land on top of a cube-shaped plateau. Dozens of searchlights are dotted along the edges, lighting the ground below, while a warehouse complex sits at the center of the plateau top. As you're approaching the plateau, your ship's sensors alert you to incoming vessels. You look at your radar to see a Sarid sojourner followed by 3 travelers getting closer to your ship. They appear unarmed, but as you land on the plateau and they follow you down, defensive turrets on the edge of the complex remain locked onto them. Once a sojourner lands, a Sarid comes down from the ramp and heads to your ship. The person sighs and leaves to meet him, followed by the representatives of the Heliarch Council. Once you're all out of your ship, you see that Sarid has been stopped by a trio of Iraq guards clad in winter uniforms blocking his path. Told mother or father about this, have you? He shouts at that person as she walks closer. Because important enough to be told, I apparently am not. That out to die you were. Told I was by some Kimmik arbiter that met. I never had. Repiller. A work trip this is. Away for long I won't be. So wish to trouble you all with the news I didn't. She responds. Trouble us. In truth, know that wrong you are, but face telling father that you're throwing your life away, you couldn't. He tries to push his way to her, but the guards stop him before he can make much progress. One of the Heliarch representatives is closer, saying, "A restricted area this is. Invading government property you are, so suggest that you leave immediately. I do." Restricted? What about the outside? Also restricted, is it not? Much more dangerous. Fine. With sending my sister there you seem. Repeller counters, and the Heliarch looks away for a moment. If bothering to send consuls so much she was just fired, she shouldn't have been. She should have been. He then looks at you and continues, "And the human? Your transport out of here, I imagine? Or maybe the one who put these ideas in your head they are." Let's see here. Wait. What did you say? It's like, look, I was just hired to transport her. What'd you say about the outside being dangerous? The Saurid looks at you puzzled then, as if realizing he turns to this, so that I told the human you haven't? Enough, that is, Repeller. Trespassing on restricted area you are. Escort him to a ship, she tells the guards. After some struggle on that dude's part, the Iraqi managed to push him back inside the Sojourner. Ignore that you should, Captain. Always difficult, my brother was. Too stubborn to realize when to stop. And easy to impress folk tales of the outside. If you say so, should I wait in my ship until you're all done here? The representative urged you to follow them into the complex, making your way past the walls and fences and into one of the larger warehouses. Inside, large shelves stacked to the ceiling surround a hexagonal hole in the middle, closed up by metal bars and a shut gate. You're told it's an elevator and it's bringing up the piece of equipment that person requires. Deeply sorry for the scandal you witnessed, I am, Captain. She says while you wait. Imagined I hadn't. That follow us here, my brother would. I mean, what's he so worried about? Well, she thinks for a bit and then says, prohibited to leave, both civilians and regular Heliarchs are. Only agents with permission from the council. Inspectors like myself may do it. A simple measure to help protect our limited jump drives it is, but births something of a taboo among the populace that law has. The elevator arrives and brings up an Iraqi pair carrying a tall antenna-like pylon, covered in insulating wires that spiral around it. The Iraqi bring the machine out of the elevator and present some documents for the Heliarch representatives, who take turns reading and signing. At the end, the person signs as well, and the Iraq bring the pylon to your ship. Once everything is ready, the Heliarch representative asks you to bring them to the spaceport city. They are quick to leave your ship once you land and do not bother to say goodbye to either you or the other dude, instead just disappearing into Heliarch building. Well, all set to leave now. Ready to leave for our first stop, are you, Captain? Can you tell me what that machine is? A decryption pylon it is. Developed to keep our data safe, they were, she explains. Generate a unique encryption pattern each expedition would, so that find important information about them outside forces couldn't. Calibrated to the pattern of my ancestor's expedition, this one is. She asks to see your galaxy map, compares the data with what's recorded in the pylon. After comparing what systems match for a few minutes, she points you to Sundrinker in the Teshuba system. First stop of every expedition that world was. Kept there a collection of log entries are, detailing the plans each leader had for their own expedition. Do you know if found this world humans have, Captain? You explain that Sundrinker is home to a small human town, but that you haven't heard of alien findings there. Hope that found and picked it over humans haven't. Much easier it would be if precise location the fleet was headed to we knew. Have to travel hundreds of systems in search of their stops, and later piece them together in order we would not. You help her bring the pylon into your room and set course for Sundrinker. Well, this is not the thing that I expected. Let me just see if it's in here. Nope. So it's not the thing that I was expecting. But we can go to Teshuba, and then we can go check out up here. So let's just do that. I mean, we're on this little side mission, so let's just do this little side mission. I don't even know if it's a side mission. It might be a main mission. Who knows? Oh, no. A pirate? That's crazy. Coming down to Sundrinker, that person checks for the coordinates where the ancient Saurid stop is, passing the data to your ship's systems. It brings you to Mesa on the desert with a wide ravine-like hole in the top. You land close to a small opening on the Mesa walls leading to the ravine and follows the person into it, helping her bring the pylon inside. About halfway to the end, she points to another hole in the wall. Past there, the Pylons' previous expedition should be. Find the one Mimodum left here, we must. A physical connection with the one we brought. For this first one we'll need, wake up. No, for this first one we'll need. Wake up the other ones in his expedition left, it will, and enough battery for easier access to the data in those they should have. She carries the pylon inside as you light the way. After some short minutes inside the tunnel dug into the mesa walls, you reach the end, a room carefully carved out with 10 objects similar to the pylon that lady carried there, though 4 are very different design, being closer to a beige, blocky obelisk. She puts down the pylon and asks you to shine a light on it so she can configure it. Then she begins to tinker with some of the wires connected to a panel on the lower half of the pylon. To determine which of these is the most recent, send a signal and its frequency, I will. Was all this process set up so the Quark couldn't get your logs if they found them? No. Employed this method before they ever came in conflict with the Quark, the ancient Sarids did. Actually, the ones who suggested it in the first place, the Quark were. Worlds apart the programs used to be, and after the War of Independence are, but kept in place the overall practice was. Once she's done with the wire, she pushes a button and a humming beep comes from one of the machines with the same spiraling design. That one, it is, she says, and asks that you may help her move that pylon closer to that one which emitted the sound. She connects the two with cables by the base of each pylon. The older pylon clicks on after a moment, letting out several beeps in a short chant. Enough energy to transfer its data now it should have. A few seconds pass, and another hum comes. She looks at the small screen on the panel and confirms that the data is all safe. Copy the data from expeditions prior to their pylon here, the 6 did, so saved us some time they have. Play their recorded logs via my translation device, I shall. She disconnects the 2 pylons from one another and inputs commands on the panel. After a short pause, an audio message begins playing and is picked up, translated by the box hanging from the lady's neck. Log started. 6th expedition to the outside. Arbiter momentum. This is, leading the 6th. Using these pylons, kept track of our major stops, we shall. To push out further than what is recorded in our previous maps if possible. The mission directive is, wish to gather data on how safe the outside systems are, I do. Split the fleet in half, I have. To head straight east, the 4 punishers of the split group are. After that, rendezvous with us as they come down from the north, they will. Regarding the punishers currently under my command, headed to distant home we are. Evaluate how the planet has developed we shall, to determine if sustainable a base or colony on the planet is. Set a pylon there with our findings we shall. The recording ends, and that lady picks up the pylon again, preparing it to carry it back out of the caves. Know our next destination we now do. Oh, let's see here. What do they mean if possible? Was something stopping them? She takes long, eyes locked in the pylon. Wonder that I also do. Perhaps encounter some complication they had. Learn more from other log entries, I'm sure we will. You 2 make your way out of the cave, returning to the ravine, and from there you head to your ships. The lady asks for your map and compares the coordinates with the data from the pylon again, finding that winter in the Yed prior system is what they refer to as distant home. She gets to her room and you set winter as your destination. All right, I guess we're going to winter then. Where's that? Oh, it's getting close to that anyway. Oh no, what was it? Oh gosh. Like why, if you're like a little tiny ship and you come into a giant fleet of ships, it's like, yeah, that's just what I want to do. I want to attack them. As you pass through the clouds of winter, the lady starts to working on the pylon, getting a faint beat moments after she's done. Further south, this world's pylon is. You fly your ship southward as she asks you to stop halfway to the pole. She inputs commands again and another beep comes. Past it we have. Determine its exact position we must. Little battery for these counter signals the pylons have. You fly northeast and then straight west, with her emitting a signal each time your ship stops. After you've triangulated the pylon's coordinates, you fly down to a glacier and land on a spot that looks stable enough to handle the weight of your ship. The lady says that the pylon must have gotten covered in ice due to glacial melting and refreezing, though that doesn't seem to have damaged its systems. She accesses the data remotely after tinkering with the pylon in your ship for a while. Once it's done, she plays a log recording the expedition had for this planet. Log started. Developing as expected this world is, and apparently still untouched it remains. Too cold for non-Sarid residents, it is. but with some terraforming effects, a comfortable enough base for Kimmik and Iraqi agents alike it could be. The planet aside noted a great deal more hyperlane connections we have. Dependent on them, this fleet is not, but differ greatly from previous records current ones do. As if scrambled and rearranged they were. Heading to Ancient Light next, we are. Check on the ruins and dragons there. Oh, dragons, I think we know where we're going next. Dragons there we must. The recording ends and the lady starts comparing the data she got with the map on your ship. Right he was. At some point after the 5th expedition and before the 6th altered this region's hyperlane network was. Any idea what happened? Vital to our communications network the hyperlanes are. The most advanced group on that field, House Biblis, is, but learned of means to tamper with hyperlanes even they haven't. I know how. God, I'm like choking. She pauses looking onto the nearby systems board in the coalition. No link to our space there is, before or after the change. If natural phenomenon, the scrambling of links, very unlucky we were. And if it's not natural? I mean, we know what it is. She stays quiet for a minute, not taking her eyes off the map. Told the ancient Sarids of a group the Quark did. Drac, I think they call them. Said that knit together the past between the stars they had. Maybe they're doing the scrambling was? She compares the coordinates of the ancient light with your map and finds that Skymoot, no kidding, because it's got dragons in the Hadar system. You tell her to set course for Skymoot, and let's get back to the room and get going. We're going to Skymoot.